What's going on, my beautiful people? Welcome back to STR News and Digest, your go-to place for everything related to short-term rentals, travel, and the business of hospitality. Today, what I'm going to do is we're going to do a couple of things differently. I'm not going to go through a lot of travel news, other than the fact that I am going to talk about World Cup, and you know. If you're living under a rock, you may not know that World Cup is here, my beautiful people. So we're going to talk about that in one quick second. Let me go through this sponsorship event. I've been so freaking busy in the last 2 months. And for those that may or may not be aware, I've been doing or having a lot of grandfather time with my grandson, because I basically take care of him throughout the day. My son works, his wife works. So I took it upon myself to be the daily babysitter, and it's been an eye-opener. Give me a quick second because I don't know what happened to my show notes. Okay, I found my show notes. But as I was saying, so between having a 9-month-old grandson who is extremely active and doesn't like to sleep or take his naps, has been a little challenging for a person that prior to him never changed the diaper. When my son was born, I was super young and super busy. We were dead ass poor. So I worked my ass off every single day. So I didn't, the taking care of the baby, changing diapers, giving him a bath, feeding them, taking him to doctors, I relied on my wife on that. I didn't partake in that. So now that I have the privilege to have the ability to do what I want when I want, I decided to do that with my grandson and really experience, what it is to be a grandfather, especially since I don't know if I'm going to have any more grandkids. I only have one son. I brought up having a second child with him, or for him to have a second child, and he looked at me like I was crazy. But anyways, let's get back on track because I digress. First thing I want to talk about is the summer travel trends and tips that I want to give you guys, because summer is here, people. Not officially, but it's right around the corner. School is out, this is what's going to lead me to World Cup first, right? With World Cup, there was very high expectations that World Cup was going to bring in like an incredible amount of people to South Florida, because we're one of the host stadium. It's right here, right down the street from me. And, hotels are going to be 100% booked. Short-term rentals are going to be in high demand. That did not come to fruition. So for me, what we're seeing, and I want you guys to comment if you are a short-term rental operator or if you work in the hotel industry. Let me know, did you guys see a huge spike in demand and revenue? Because we did it. It's when we compare our June to last year June, the numbers are very similar. So, excuse me. So that was a little bit disappointing, right? A lot of people wanted to hop on board, and it also could be that because World Cup was coming, so many people jumped on the bandwagon and opened up short-term rentals, right? There was a lot of new listings. After a dip, in 2025, we actually started to see a dip in availability in short-term rentals. So, but after that dip, in Q1 of 2026 of this year, we started to see that spike back up. So And again, a lot of people jump on that. So many people, including myself, we expected higher occupancy rates, huge ADR, which if you don't know, it's the average daily rate. We wanted that to be super high. We also expected hotels to be sold out and premium STR pricing. That did not happen at all. And we are in the first week of World Cup. In fact, if not today or tomorrow, I think, or this weekend, there's going to be a few games right here in Miami, and nothing, just run, I don't know. And I asked myself why, what happened, and I think FIFA and their organization. Well, I know for a fact that they screwed up big time in a lot of ways. One was with their tickets. They allowed people to buy, I think, 15 tickets at a time. And guess what happened, right? A bunch of people bought all these, went on there, especially people that like to scalp tickets, went on there and just bought massive amounts of tickets to resell them. And then the resale price is just too high. And things are not that great on the when it comes to people with excessive amount of money to spend. In addition to that, travel to the U.S. from foreign country isn't as easy, right? We made it much difficult for people from international people to travel to the U.S. Right? If you're from the UE and have a UE passport, different story. But if you're from the Middle East, certain areas in South America, very difficult to get a visa to come here, right? So having said that, I think that that put a hamper in the World Cup. I watched, I think, the first game in LA. That stadium was empty, like empty. I was super shocked how empty that was. So anyway, that's like a bummer. But summer, if you're not aware, July and August are the highest travel month out of the year. So I want to give you some travel tips if you're going to travel, and then I'll give you some tips as a short-term rental operator. So if you're going to travel, a couple of things that I always tell people in the summer. Number one, keep in mind that because July and August are the highest travel months throughout the year, everything goes up. It's super expensive. That's why for years I've been telling you guys, travel in what's called a shoulder season or off-peak time. Like, for example, my favorite time to travel is in May and the month of September, October. Those are the 3 months that I love to travel. Reason being, those are their shoulder season. Everything's so much cheaper, and I'm not fighting crowds. So I like to travel during these months. This year was the first year in the last, I think, 8 to 9 years. And again, because of my grandson, that I did not leave to Europe or someplace for the entire month of May. This was the first year that we stayed here. And this is why on my other channel, I did the What Hustle Dash Challenge in the month of May, because I wasn't traveling. So I was here. So we took care of that. And normally in September, October, I usually also take not as long trip, right? Because normally in May, I'm gone for the entire month, but I usually take 2 to 3 weeks to travel, either September, October. This year, we're not doing that either. But this year, I am going to be doing some adventure riding here in the States. And I'll touch on that later as we get closer to that. But here's some things that you guys need to expect if you're traveling, right? Number one, expect things to be more expensive. Number two, if you're going to travel to a vacation destination and you're looking to book like tours and excursions, book them early, because they sell out very quickly. Don't wait to the last minute, because then you're going to get stuck, because most of them will be sold out. And remember, the vacation actually starts before you arrive, right? Make sure you know and plan out, and look for what are the best restaurants, what are the best shopping areas. You're going, like, for example, if you come to South Florida, what are the best boat tours? What are the best Everglades tours? Do all that, do all your research way in advance. And today it's super easy. You can either hire a travel advisor or a company like us, or you can use ChatGPT or Grok or one of the AI models that are taking over, that'll create a personalized individual travel itinerary for you. All you have to do is put in the information you need. I've been using the heck out of it to for my travel. Whenever I travel, I use the heck out of it to tell me where, what's the best time to fly, what's the best lounge in an airport. All that stuff you can find today very easily online, but do your homework. Here's the next tip, right? Travel midweek. Midweek is still the cheapest time to travel. And it's also when it comes to flights and hotels and even short-term rentals, midweek are where you're going to find the best prices. So go ahead and do that. Next, tip number 3 is to create like a mobile checklist. Me personally, I like to make sure that even though I travel often and it's like second nature to me, but I still have a checklist so I don't forget important documents, especially when I'm traveling with someone that's not as an experienced traveler. I use that checklist to give to them and remind them, hey, make sure you have your passport, make sure you have your ID, make sure you notify your phone carrier that you're traveling, make sure you notify your credit card company that you're traveling. So that when you get to your destination, you don't have those issues. A couple of things that I highly recommend is to have, I carry like a pouch internally that I put inside my shirt where I keep my important documents, specifically my passport and one credit card. And that credit card that I keep in there is one that I normally don't use anyways. But if I lose my primary one, I have my backup. So my ID, my driver's license, my passport, and a credit card I keep in there, right? And then I keep that, hidden and in my person at all times, doesn't leave me, right? Next, I always carry my portable charger. I thought I had it down here, but my battery bank, portable battery bank, I carry that to make sure my phone is charged. Because if you're like me, I do everything on my phone, including all my hotel reservations, my my flight tickets, my booking tickets. They're all on my phone. So the other thing I do though, besides making sure my phone is charged, I take pictures of all of it, because if for whatever reason you lose data or Wi-Fi, you can go into your photos and pull up a copy of your boarding passes, right? A copy of your reservation for your hotel or your short-term rental, and or if you're renting a car, a copy of that, right? So take pictures, store it in your phone, and keep that on. Next thing is, I personally don't do this, but having travel insurance for some people could be beneficial. Especially if you're going to some areas in which they're known to have issues, right? Like, for example, I got a lot of friends that like to go to Africa for safaris and all that. There's always issues in Africa, right? So the other place is, I got a lot of friends, a lot of Christian friends and Jewish friends that like to go to Israel and parts of the Middle East. And there's always turmoil though. So make sure you have some type of travel insurance if you're going to those type of areas. Tip number 4, and this is big, and this is one of the reasons why I don't travel in the summer months. But if you're traveling in the summer months, it's going to be hot. It is June here in South Florida, and the last 4 days we had heat advisory. And for Florida to have a heat advisory, it has to be really hot, because we're normally hot anyways. So expect and try to get or stay hydrated at all times. And remember, it's going to be hot. So uh, pack accordingly, right? You know, it's just crazy the amount of heat, and it doesn't really matter where you go. You know, it's going to be hot just about everywhere you go. Um, Next tip I'm going to give you is to expect delays. Expect flight delays. And the reason I mentioned that is because a lot of you guys like to book flights that have layovers because normally they tend to be cheaper. Uh, so if you're one of those bargain shoppers and have a flight with a layover, give yourself plenty of time. In the last STR News and Digest, I gave you that window, but I'll repeat the window that I personally use. If I'm flying domestically, anywhere in the US, I give myself a minimum of 2 hours, minimum on a layover. If I'm flying international, a minimum of 4 hours is what I'm giving myself. Oftentimes, if I'm traveling international, I give myself like a full day because what I try to do is in my layover, stay there for an extra day and then catch the flight the following day. So it gives me the peace of mind knowing that I don't have to worry. Whatever happens, I will get to my connecting flight, and if everything's on time, I get an extra day in a location that I wasn't planning on going to. So those are my tips for that. And tip number 5, and the final tip that I got for you today is build flex days in your vacation. Here's what I mean by that. Instead of packing every hour into activities, there are some people that I work with that want every hour accounted for. I tend to be like that as well, right? Not necessarily every hour, but I do account for a lot of the day. But I'm flexible with that, or I add what's referred to as a flex day, where depending on how the trip is going, will depend on what I'm going to do on that flex day. So add that in there, right? Because again, you can be flying. There could be, let's say you're going to Europe and you're going to go to Spain for 5 days. Plan accordingly for 4. Keep the 5th day. I'm sorry, because of travel. Let's just say 3 days are where you're going to actually be doing, because 1 day is travel there and 1 day is travel back, and then you have 3 days. Keep 1 day flex. Because you may be planning to, let's say you're going to go to El Retiro, do some sightseeing in some areas outdoors, and it rains, right? Then you're going to flip and try to do stuff indoors. So I highly recommend you build in a flex day when you travel. All right. Now, that was for my travelers. Now we're going to give you some tips for our short-term rental managers or operators. Now, here's a big one, and we recently came across this because we manage a large portfolio, and we hadn't done this in a while, and that is auditing our smart locks. Now, and this is for people that have smart locks, and I hope and pray that, especially if you're subscribed to this channel, that you have smart locks for all your properties, right? So audit them on a regular basis. When we went into our smart lock, I can't tell you how many codes we had in a particular lock. I mean, way too many codes because we never deleted them. So, and we had codes that we had generated and the reservation canceled. So unless you have unless your smart lock is connected to a PMS system that manages and handles the codes for your smart lock, in our case, we don't. We do that separately. I highly recommend you go in there and you audit that, right? Audit your smart locks. That's number 1. Number 2 is, again, I'm going to talk about heat, and we're in South Florida. make sure you're doing your maintenance on your HVACs, right? Make sure you, your coils are clean, your filters are changed, your lines are clear, because in the summer, these ACs are going to be working overtime. And the last thing you want is for an AC to die on you at 10 o'clock at night when you have a house full of guests and it's Friday night. Because to get an HVAC person, unless you're like us, that we have an HVAC person in-house, you're going to be screwed. You're going to be refunding a lot of money to your guests. Your guests are going to be very unhappy, even though that's beyond your control somewhat, because if machines break, but if you maintain them, they don't break often. But nonetheless, that's going to be a problem. Along those same lines, right? Because heat does this to heat damages a lot of things, right? The sun rays really damages a lot. Check and double check your outdoor furniture. Your furniture that's actually absorbing all this heat, and make sure it's not weathered. I can tell you that and I can tell you, outdoor furniture is super, super expensive, but it's the cost of doing business. You make sure that everything's operational, nothing's frayed, nothing's weathered. Fix it, and make sure you're putting something outside that doesn't become a hazard. Meaning, I'll give you an example. We cover our barbecue sets because they're black, and if we don't cover them, number one, they're going to deteriorate quicker, but they also become so hot that if you touch it, you can actually get burnt. So we actually, all of our barbecue or anything that is dark color, we cover. So that when a guest comes, they have to take it off to use it, or take off whatever we use to cover it, so they don't get burned, right? Next is making sure that you're staying on top of your landscaping. In Florida and in my property in South Georgia, in the summer, grass grows super, super fast. So in the winter time or in the fall time, you can get away with cutting the grass twice a month. Not so in the summertime. Make sure you're on top of your landscaping, because that's going to be huge. Next tip is make sure you update, especially if you've been in this business for a long time. We just had a couple of incidents in which we had listings that in the description we didn't update certain things, and or in the photos, right? We have properties that we constantly update. I talked about themes, and a few properties, the team missed and forgot to update the photos and update the listing descriptions, and it became an issue. Constantly stay on top of that, right? Make sure on a regular basis you're going through every single listing and make sure everything is current and up to date. 4, especially if you are in the coast, what I refer to, if you're part of the hurricane belt, be prepared. Hurricane season is coming. Have your hurricane preparedness plan set. Rehearse it with your staff. Be prepared. Here in South Florida, and not just South Florida, I just saw, I got good friends that manage properties in Chicago, and they recently had really bad thunderstorms, knocking out powers, knocking down trees, and they weren't prepared, because it doesn't happen that often there. But here, there's no excuse. In South Florida, we get storms all the time. Be prepared, right? Have your SOPs up to date. Make sure your staff is well aware of the SOPs, so that you're good to go. Next is going to be, and this is the final one, is review your pricing weekly, right? Even if you're on a dynamic pricing system, make sure that you're reviewing them. Make sure your occupancy rates are good. If there's a property that's lagging behind, make sure you figure out why and increase the marketing for that specific property. Okay? Huge, guys. You have to stay on top of this stuff. Summer is going to be busy. It's busy for almost everyone. But a lot of people get caught with their pants down. Don't be that guy. You've been warned. All right. That's going to be it. Let me go through some questions. Let's see if we got any questions here. And is there a specific company you recommend for travel insurance? No, I don't. In fact, I don't. I don't. As I mentioned, I don't use travel insurance. But and I don't like to recommend anything that I'm not well versed on. But you have Google, so check that out. There. Is there next question? We are traveling in December, and I created a fantastic. Yeah. Use ChatGPT, man. Grok. I like Grok better than ChatGPT, but it doesn't matter. Any AI system out there, use it to your advantage. That's what it's there for, man. It can be a lifesaver. And I've already talked about this. We use our, ChatGPT or Grok to do the itinerary, but we verify it by going on to Instagram and TikTok to see what's out there, because Instagram and TikTok has become the number one and number two platforms for travel. Okay. I'm concerned that my connection time is very short. Is there any possibility of being moved to an earlier flight or different flight? You have to call your airline, right? I would definitely be concerned if you have a very short window. I can't tell you how many people I've told to increase their layover time. They did it and got stuck and missed their flight. So it is a problem. It is a problem. Do you know of any good companies that sell and customize the smart locks? There's a couple. Yale's one of them, but the ones we use are Sludge or Sludge, whatever. SCHLADE. That's the company those are the locks that we use on all of our properties. It's one app, very easy to manage. It could be integrated into a lot of PMS systems, but there's other companies. Yale has good smart locks as well, but again, for us those are the smart locks that we use. Does Airbnb have any issues with hosts using AI generated photos or videos? You can't put videos on Airbnb yet, but you could on Verbal. I've talked about that before. Video is the best, right? You should have videos. But as far as AI generated photos, no, they don't have a problem with it. But I am going to tell you this: that photo better depict exactly what you're trying to present. I've said this a lot. Don't make something bigger, something look bigger than it is. Don't make it look better than it is, because if you're building an expectation based on that photo, and when someone gets there, it doesn't meet that expectations, you're going to get a bad review. You will get a bad review. So make sure it depicts the property to the T. All right, my beautiful people, I don't see any more questions. Thank you for watching. Until next time, have a great evening. Travel safe. See you next time. Love you guys.
You guys gotta try this.